everyone. Welcome back to Break the Stigma. We're here with Krista today, and I'm so excited to hear more about her and her life. She's from California, but I'll let her take it from here and explaining a little bit more about what you do and who you are and everything about you.
Okay. Hi there. So glad to be here. Thank you so much. Yeah, Krista Samimi here. I am a mental health advocate, mental wellness advocate. I don't have any fancy letters after my name or anything like that. Everything that I've experienced is just my own experience and what I've been through. Have a lot of experience not only taking care of my own mental health. In 2001, I was diagnosed with bipolar I disorder, but I spent many, many years helping my dad with his mental health struggles and, really helping him find his way through the mental health system. And I am a mom. I have a 4.5-year-old son, Jacob. We live in California, Northern California, and my husband and I live here just outside of Sacramento. I have two amazing stepdaughters, and one is with us for the summertime, so that is super awesome. But I'm also a wellness partner with a holistic mental wellness company, and I get to share the exciting science around the gut-brain axis and help others be really empowered with their mental health and wellness, and look at like holistic ways combined with Western medicine, finding really good solutions to help people feel their best.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. I'm so excited to get to speak with you about all of this. Before we dive into maybe your mental health journey and what that was like through motherhood and everything, can you explain a little bit about the gut-brain axis and what that means?
Yeah. So, I came across this science just like 2 years ago, and it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But simply put, the gut-brain axis, the gut is all of our organs involved in digestion. So the gut is, your stomach, your intestines, your colon, all the way up to your esophagus. And there's, millions and trillions of different types of bacteria in our gut. Some are good, some are bad. And our gut is actually constantly communicating with our brain via the axis. Mm-hmm. And the axis is the vagus nerve. So an astounding 80 to 90% of our feel-good neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine are actually made in the gut and then travel via the vagus nerve to the brain. To me, that was completely mind-blowing because I actually used to work for a pharmaceutical company for like 10 years. And, they really want you to believe that it's all in your head and your brain, but your gut is literally your second brain. And so super important to take care of your gut health because it's going to impact all areas of your health. Like if you're tired, it could be related to your gut. If you're not sleeping well, it could be related to your gut. So, I was really fascinated by this whole gut-brain axis and how optimizing it can make you feel your best.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a growing field right now too. I'm so excited to learn more about it at some point in my career, hopefully. Can you explain a little bit how that has impacted your mental health journey? Or maybe explain your mental health journey first and kind of what that looked like. You kind of touched on bipolar.
Yeah. So we go all the way back to 2001. I was working for my first corporate job in pharmaceutical sales, and it was a very stressful time. I was going to be getting married at the time. I had just got my first job promotion. I was remodeling my first home. I think I was like 23 or 24 at that time. Oh, and all this stress, I didn't really realize it until things sort of escalated, but I started to sleep less. Like I would be up until 2 a.m. in the morning, sending emails, and everything was very benign at first. I started to get anxious, even though I didn't know what that was at the time, but just nervous energy, and I couldn't go to sleep, and just things were off, and a lot of this was stress induced. And what happened at that time is now I know what it was, but I had my first what's called manic episode. I have bipolar I disorder, and a manic episode can start off very benign, just lots of extra energy. I was going on shopping sprees and I didn't know why. And I was spending all this money, giving money, $20 bills to homeless people. And but then it escalated. I started to have what's called delusions, and those are believing things that are not actually true. I started to think people were following me, people are after me. I started getting very fearful. And of course, when I called my parents at this time, they were like, "Oh, yeah, we need to, get you to my dad's psychiatrist because he has bipolar." So they kind of knew what to look for. So
Yeah.
long story short, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder in 2001 and put on some medications, and the delusions and everything thankfully went away. I took some time off work, which was super awkward in and of itself because I was literally off work for like 2 or 3 months. And coming back to work, it wasn't like I had a surgery or a physical ailment. And, what are people thinking? Did I like offend anybody at work, sending weird emails? Anyways, so that was my diagnosis in 2001. And I was pretty stable. I was on medications for a while, and I, was productive enough to carry on in my corporate jobs. I did have some hiccups along the way where I've been hospitalized before, and that's a whole experience we can maybe talk about in another question. But it wasn't until 2019 where I just sort of got not fed up with my medicine and approach and everything, but I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling off. I was having breakthrough depression, breakthrough anxiety, even though I was taking 2 medications for my bipolar. And quite frankly, my psychiatrist is very like Western medicine. This is how it is. You take this, you do this, you do this, and that's how it is. But something just didn't sit right with me. Like, and you should always trust your gut, right?
Yeah.
So like at that time, my friend introduced me to the science of the gut brain axis. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is like root cause healing, getting to the root of the problem. And it was game changing. Like literally, she introduced me to the science and this targeted nutrition system that optimizes the gut brain axis and helps you feel more energized, relieves the depression, relieves the anxiety.
Yeah.
And it was literally game changing. So I started on these holistic supplements, and literally it's been almost 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. I've been able to decrease my main medication by over 50%. Like I was on 300 milligrams of it, and now I'm just on 100 milligrams.
Wow.
So it is truly working. And my psychiatrist is kind of doing a double take because he's like, tell me again what's in those medications, because he's like seeing us decrease, and he doesn't like to decrease, but I work with him, right? But he sees me decrease and I'm doing really, really well. And so he's just kind of taken back, like, okay, like, I guess those supplements do work. And I'm like, they do, Dr. Fisher, they truly do work.
Yeah. Wow. What an incredible experience you've had. And it's so enlightening to hear your experience kind of going through that process of transferring into the gut brain axis and how that's impacted your life. Like that's incredible.
Yes, I'm so grateful because, I was on high doses of this medication, and it really like numbed me out. And I literally, the side effects, I didn't feel like I was like living fully. I was kind of dulled down with this medication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know for some people it works really well, but of course, like everyone has their unique experience. And I'm sure if more people tried this, kind of like exploring their gut brain axis, that they could also have those positive impacts for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you don't have to have a diagnosis to kind of work on your gut brain axis and give it the right nutrition, because all of us, at some point, whether we have a diagnosis or not, can feel tired, feel anxious or stressed. And like, these are root cause solutions. Like even the stress piece is amazing because cortisol comes from our gut too. So when cortisol levels are going all over the place, we're feeling stressed, and we can modulate the cortisol with these supplements so that you feel more calm, less stressed.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So fascinating. So just going back into your journey with mental health, what was hospitalization like for you? What was your experience with that, and possibly the stigma around that in either going in or coming out and meeting your colleagues or family, or however that applies to you?
Yeah. What I've been hospitalized a total of 3 times in 20 years. The first time was, it was pretty intense. Like it was only 7 days, but it was a very scary experience because I was like in a foreign environment and I'm having these delusions and not being able to sleep good there and having a roommate. And it was pretty scary. And I remember going in what's called a quiet room because I was very active in the middle of the night, and I did something at the nurse's station, like there was a water thing there. Anyways, okay, let's not go, we won't go to that one.
That's okay.
But in 2009, I was very stressed at work and I wasn't taking good care of myself. And I was flying coast to coast to meetings and traveling for work and kind of like missed my medication here and there. And I remember I was hospitalized for the whole summer of 2019. Oh, sorry, 2009. I was literally in the hospital for 72 days.
Oh my God.
They were trying to get the medications working, and I was having the delusions, and they've tried all different medications. And like, literally, I was like thinking I was going to be institutionalized from the rest of my life. They were just like pumping medicine with me. I was still having all of these delusions that people were after me. It was really, really scary. And I could never sleep good there just because you're in a hospital in a foreign place. It was just really hard to sleep. And I just remember it was like really like, I like lost my whole identity because I was so like, corporate person, successful, doing all the things. And now here I am in a locked psych facility. I didn't see the light of day more than 2 or 3 days during the 72 days that I was there. And I just remember, like, I feel like I lost my identity. I don't know who I was. I felt like a failure. I felt, like none of my friends have ever experienced this. It was just really, it was, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it was pretty traumatic.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then I couldn't even just leave and go home after they discharged me because I needed to kind of relearn life skills, like how to go grocery shopping and how to do this because everything was done for me. So I had to go live in what they call like a halfway house for like, I don't know, I think I was there for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds like being in an unfamiliar environment in such a vulnerable place in your life sounds really scary. That sounds
it truly was like, I didn't, and the brain plays tricks on you. And like, I was just believing like the worst things ever. I thought I was going to jail. I thought I did all these bad things. Like, I was in a really bad place. And, I don't know, like my parents were alive at the time. They're not now, but like I was kind of like, whatever they kind of said to the doctors, like I felt like I was just stuck in a system because my parents were like, oh, well, just, you're doing good here. They're going to give you the best treatment. And my parents didn't really know. They didn't, they just kind of like whatever the doctors say. But yeah, I felt like it was just it was an experience. I learned from it, but it was very, it was a rough time because and then I didn't go back to my corporate job after that. Obviously that was just too much stress, but I totally lost my identity and just like, who am I? Like I'm in a psych hospital for 72 days.
Yeah, absolutely. That's life-changing, first of all. And then after that would have been.
And then, we talked about stigma, right?
And
I was like, up until that point, I was like doing a lot of mental health advocacy. I was involved in NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I had been running my own support group through the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. And, here I am all of a sudden now I'm the one like in a locked psych facility. I was the one like preaching, like, you got to take care of your health and do all of these things. And I wasn't doing all of the things at that time.
Yeah. Now you're here though. It looks like thriving in your life with the son and a wonderful job and a wonderful understanding of your mental health. What was it like? Do you remember that moment where you kind of came out of those delusions and were like, oh, I kind of realize what it's like now to be myself and be in my own brain and be at whole with myself.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like gradual because I would still have like, I'd be okay for like, a week. And then the little thoughts would creep in like, is that really true? Or is that really happening? But once my mind was stable and I wasn't having those paranoid thoughts, I was just like immensely grateful. I was just like, because I know people, because I ran a support group, I know people that just live with those thoughts and they're there all the time. And so I was just immensely grateful that my mind was clear, that I could get back to work, do all the things, because it was a scary time. It's one thing like if you break your arm and you have like physical health problem or something, but your mind is like always with you and it's powerful. So I was just grateful when we found the right mix of medications and programs and things like that, they eventually went away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Besides the gut brain access supplements that you're taking, what else was really helpful for you during your mental health journey?
Yes. So for me, exercise has been like massively important. Sometimes it's like a hard exercise, like running or biking or something like that. Or some days it's doing yoga. I love doing hot yoga, just sweating out everything and being really mindful and all of that. I recently, like in the last 6 months, have really taken to meditation, especially for myself with bipolar, a very active mind. So even if I can just sit, and I'm not talking about like, being on a yoga mat and meditating for an hour, like if I can just sit for like 5-10 minutes and quiet my mind, it's really beneficial.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Those kind of seem to be common, like a pattern in the people I've been talking to is like sitting with your thoughts and meditation and whatever that means to you, because I think that can mean several different things to different people, has been immensely helpful in their journeys. If you feel comfortable, can you share a little bit about how if you've felt stigmatized throughout your mental health journey and maybe now or maybe as a mother or however that applies to you through that journey? Can you just
Yeah. I can give you like a couple examples. I know for sure when after, like I said, I came out of the hospital in 2009 and then I never went back to my pharmaceutical job. So I was actively looking for jobs during that time. And of course I had this gap in my resume. And I totally feel like it took me, I don't know, 15, 20 interviews to finally get a job. But I'm a firm believer that, they kind of found out either like by Googling my name. I'll give you a story on that. I think I was stigmatized by employers. I do know that I didn't get married to my husband until like 8 years ago. But before that, during like dating and stuff, because I have done all this mental health advocacy work, my name was like on the NAMI website or the DBSA website for a support group. And it would say like, my maiden name was Radoyevich. So there was no, like when they Google my name, like, and it says Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, support group leader, Krista Radoyevich, like it's me. Like, it's not like Googling like a Mary Smith.
Yeah.
So I would date people, we would go on dates and I would never want to give somebody my last name because people do that. They Google. So a lot of relationships, fizzled because of that. And bless my husband, he wasn't like that. Obviously we're married now. So, but it was, I don't know. I think that was stigma. I mean, stigma is, I think, what prevents people from seeking help because they feel different. They feel flawed. I know I felt flawed for a while, and it wasn't until like I really accepted myself, like, okay, this is no different than having like diabetes or high blood pressure. It's a medical condition. And once I like accepted that and that it's a disorder and that it's treatable and it's a health condition, then I could make choices that help me go forward. And I had to like let go of some friends because some friends saw me during my manic episode and they were, I don't know what the word is, but I understand, like I did some weird stuff during my manic episodes, and you just kind of learn who your friends are and who you can count on and those kinds of things. But I think with stigma, it's really important that more people share their experiences so that people that don't have a disorder, they understand and they don't like get weirded out or whatever the case may be. But it's really important that people just continue to share their stories, have these conversations, because it's just, a lot of mental health conditions, people just sort of act differently and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And there definitely can be a lack of understanding there and acceptance to individuals who do experience such behaviors. Because if you're not informed, then I understand how that could be scary. But hopefully with things like this and opening the dialogue and breaking that stigma, we can reach more people to lend a helping hand to their friends who are experiencing things like what you went through.
100%. Definitely.
Besides opening up dialogue, what do you think all of us can do on an everyday basis that could help overcome that stigma and have a more open mind towards mental health?
Well, I mean, it's so prevalent now, right? Like it's something like 1 in 4 families are impacted by a mental health disorder. And really, I think that this sounds so cliche, but kindness goes a long way. Like you have no idea what someone might be facing or what they're experiencing right now. And just being kind to somebody, and if you see something that you just don't feel like is right in that person, is just asking them like, how are you? Like, I noticed this, like, I would love to, do you want to talk to me? You know what I mean? And sometimes, because I know for me, I felt really like isolated and withdrawn. And I know that would have gone a long way if somebody, a good friend just reached out to me and expressing kindness and checking in on me. It really does go a long way. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not cliche at all. I think more kindness can be spread in this world, especially right now.
Yes.
In the past few years with everything going on, we all need a little kindness in our lives, or more than a little.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add or anything that we missed or you want to share with us?
I would just say, like, especially if you're watching and you're struggling with your mental health, is like, there are just so many resources now. And with social media and being able to connect with people, is to reach out to people, reach out to myself, reach out to someone like Madsen, and, get those resources, because my dad suffered for a long, long time. And I wish now, because he passed 4 years ago.
So sorry.
I wish I had known some of these resources that I have now that I could have shared with him, and that would have helped him with his depression. So there's just, with NAMI, DBSA, social media, people sharing their stories on social media, like don't hesitate to reach out and to find stuff, because there are so many resources available.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, you and I think, lend that helping hand out. And I'm sure others out there as well. As you said, there's so many resources that you can reach out to. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us on Break the Stigma today. It was so lovely hearing your story and your advice. And
you're welcome.
So thank you.
Absolutely.